Today, let's talk about really quickly, just a few minutes, on a study that was done about luck. Is it important to think that you're lucky? I always think about this, and there was a study done, which this was kind of cool, on whether you think you're lucky or not, does it impact your life overall? And the research says, yes, it is. So what is this study? Well, I first came across it because it was explained in a video about a guy who built a business, and one of his intake questions was, do you think you're lucky or not? And he would only hire people that would rate themselves lucky. I'm not sure if that's legal, but it was kind of interesting. But he quoted the study, so I went and found it. Here's the study real quick, not to keep you going. It was done at Stanford University, and the study was, they went to the graduate psych department, was the study, and they were walking up to college students, says, here, if you read this, it was a mock-up of a newspaper. And group A was like, read the headlines. If you get the number right, you get whatever it was, 25, 50 bucks. And the second test group was, look at the pictures. If you count the pictures, you get the pictures right, you get 50 bucks. Great. So, but we all know that a study in psych is not what they tell you it is. So here was the real study. The question they'd ask right before they give them the newspaper, oh, by the way, just out of curiosity, on a scale of 1 to 10, how lucky do you think like 1, 2, 3, you're not lucky, 8, 9, 10, you're super lucky, somewhere. Great. So they would just note that. Now, here's the cool part. Now, remember, this is Stanford University, so it is some very bright people. And most of the people got either the headlines or the pictures right. But what they found was even more interesting, which was people that rated themselves lucky, the 7, 8, 9, 10, noticed the real core of the study. And the real core of the study wasn't counting the pictures. Is right underneath the pictures of the headline, there was a little line that says, if you see this statement, the study's over, collect an extra, whatever it was, 25 or 50 bucks. So what they found was the people that said they were lucky, like 90% of the time saw the little text, and so they got double the money. Now, and the people that rated themselves unlucky, didn't get that statement, so they didn't get the bonus. So what does that say? Well, if you think you're lucky, what does it affect? As we would say in the personal coaching world, psychology would call it a little different, but it's the reticular activating system. If you think you're lucky, what they think is it opens up your reticular activating system, so you notice things that other people don't, right? That's why lucky people notice things, and we seem that they're lucky. I also think, and next week I'm going to talk about a different study about scarring that kind of goes with this. But if you begin to think that you're lucky, does it open up your peripheral vision? Does it open up how you look at the world? Can you see opportunities others don't? It's kind of a trite answer, but it's true. Some people see an opportunity, some people see a difficulty. So if you think you're lucky, it shifts your perspective, much like now we know gratitude actually rewires your. So does this. So do you think you're lucky? And I was thinking about this, I just close with this, is when you see teams get on a streak, we recently saw it in American football with the Indiana University, right? And a couple people said, they're just lucky. Well, and you hear them talk, and they talk about their team of destiny. They're lucky. And they do the things. They get the interceptions. They block the punts. They do the little things that just kind of feed into it. Right? As we all know, not to sound too metaphysical, we don't know what our attitudes and thought, how it affects the universal consciousness and the energy pattern. So,